Please don't eat my hair. Hey, it's me with Bambi today. A very special March notes for you. Bambi doesn't really come to work with me anymore, but I gotta get him to the vet before I'm out of town for a work trip. So with all of the timings, it just made sense for him to come to work with me. I'm gonna sit down and film this video, and then I have just enough time to make it to the veterinarian so that he can just get a little routine checkup. And thank you for all the love that everyone's been showing for Prairie. She had her oral surgery, everything was great, and it went well, so I couldn't be more grateful for that. The insurance thing did not go well, but I will get into that in a future vlog. But nevertheless, she's healthy, and I'm so grateful. Now let's get into the video. I am also in a bit of a chaotic state myself. I have been keeping a secret for a while, and it's always hard to keep secrets, but it's also a situation where I feel, because I'm not allowed to express a lot of what's going on, I feel kind of lonely. On the one hand, I'm extremely excited for a new project that I'm working on this month, but also coming back to YouTube on a regular schedule, trying to keep myself to that routine, trying new things like hosting events and doing workshops, being commissioned. It sucks sometimes to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. I do feel like there is a lot of advantages to doing a lot at the same time. So as much as I am tempted to simplify my life, addition by subtraction, I know that a lot of times the chaos and the busyness and the pressure and the stress is just a sign that I am really pushing myself out of my comfort zone. I'm adopting a every other week schedule for uploading, and I might have to just see how the cookie crumbles for April, and I might have to take a longer break. I feel like in the past I would have given up on a video this week because I just feel like I cannot show up. But now I realize that being able to sit down and film takes a series of steps and rituals to clear my head, and that's kind of where the key lies. Same thing when I want to show up and be creative with a painting commission. Sometimes you don't feel that spark and that inspiration, so how do you get from feeling down in the dumps to being able to perform and be creative? Because it requires accessing flow, and in order to access flow, there's a bunch of things they gotta do. So in the future, I would really love to make a video about warming up, just like you will need to stretch and warm up when you get to the gym before you do anything really challenging and demanding. We got to do that too for our intellectual challenges, our creative challenges. So it's just that we were never taught any of these tools, and I have been figuring it out for myself. For example, taking my support animal everywhere I go is critical. Literally need to be surgically melded together. Now, let's get to the actual video. Now that I've rambled for a little bit, I'm gonna open with a handful of questions and then go through my March diaries. And that's especially what I'm focusing on, because March had a lot go on to the point where I'm not really slowing down and focusing and being grateful for those. So I'm glad that I have this video as an opportunity for me to sit down and re-experience it and edit it. Do you still have an interest in fiber arts? And the person who asked me this question also was explaining that when I was at RISD, it seemed like I was studying painting, and then I diverted into textiles and what's happening there. And this actually brought back a bunch of memories. So to clear it up first, in my sophomore year of RISD, I was doing a lot of painting, a lot of those assignments, and I remember people really loved watching that on the vlogs. And it was like some of the most viral videos that was going around at the time. And after that, my specifications of weaving and learning screen printing and knitting started, because that's how the curriculum was presented to us. So all of that painting I was doing was actually, it was an elective when I was doing oil painting during one of the semesters, and it was kind of required for us to pick something outside of our field. But then there was all of this other painting I was doing that was like 6 feet tall, acrylic paintings. That was actually for our textiles curriculum, and it was one of the classes that was teaching us how to design meaningful textiles that would derive from stories, and I think it was called From Idea to Meaning. And the medium was just painting because it was very much about expressing the narrative, and it was supposed to contribute to our other classes. But a lot of the people I was in class with were having a hard time seeing how painting has anything to do with our studies, and they really hated it. But I secretly enjoyed painting, and I felt like it slowed down my heart rate, and it was just like a nice reprieve every week in between all of the other things that we were doing. So that was a time where, as I was getting more into the classes that were doing all of the hand weaving stuff, all of the fabric design stuff, I got tons of comments that were like, I really miss your art school vlogs. So for like the latter 2 years, I just remember thinking, damn, I am in art school, but I think what people are saying in this commentary is that they wanted a very specific trope of me, like painting all the time, to like feed this machine of like content of like, I want to see this girl at art school painting something new every week, and for it to be like this endless type of show, like seasons of a TV show that would just come out, when in reality I was learning how to eventually design apparel or interiors. And I don't do that anymore outside of graduating because I decided not to go for a corporate job and apply for like either an apparel design position or a fabrics design position, as I still had the chance to build something on my own and manage being freelance, because I really value flexibility and freedom. So there's a lot of downsides to this decision, but for me, it was a cost worth paying and trying out, because it's never too late to actually go back and try those opportunities in the future. I do have an interest in fiber arts, but I will admit it is so hard. It is hard. It takes a lot of patience and determination. So granted, I do not want to do it as like a hobby after I get off of work. I'm just not interested in like figuring out my machine knitting. Like that stuff is a test of your character. Like knitting just seems like something I will have to intensely learn. And the one thing I do love a lot and I miss is screen printing, and even that is a grueling process. So taking all of those classes in school that taught me about embroidery and print design and weaving and knitting has really helped me as a designer for my own business, because as I am in the behind the scenes talking with factories, I have a different level of understanding that I wouldn't have if I didn't have this degree. So it does really help me in a way, and I'm really glad that I went for it. Even if I'm not ending up like specializing in textiles right now, my most favorite out of all of the things that we were learning was definitely pattern design. So I walked away with that, and I can kind of marry it with my love of painting, because I can design repeats. And now in the future, I would love to explore more fabrics that I can design through printing, through using gouache or oil paint, and then putting that in a repeat so that I can see it worn on the body. So that leads me into talking more about my post-grad transition. There's a question: what was the hardest part of transitioning into the real world? For the sake of this video, I've decided that the hardest part was finding routine, because for over a decade, everything that I had to do was laid out for me, and I hated that. I hated having to show up and be on time and wake up early and all of those things, but we also don't realize how good it is for us and how much kids need that structure too. So to figure out how to get that structure as a self-employed person in the real world was really tough, and to this day I realize that if I don't have a shop and a business that takes a lot of energy to upkeep, and I just have a private studio, I can't even promise myself that I have the discipline to show up every day for myself. Like if I don't see another soul, if I didn't have a studio mate or other people that are like coming and going. Who knows if I'm going to show up on time? Am I going to have crazy late hours and then just like keep pushing back deadlines because no one is there to keep me accountable? I fear that that might be the case. Like I will fall to those structures. So I don't I don't see myself ever wishing that, okay, I wish I could save the rent because the store rent is what stresses me out a lot, and I knew what I was signing up for, but I'm definitely living that intensity of like every beginning of the month I am holding my breath to see what the month ahead will bring and how I perform. And I guess I perform better under that pressure than having no obligations like that at all, because otherwise if I just lived at my apartment still and did everything out of my bedroom, I don't think I would have the same ambition in me. So definitely the hardest part was finding routine, and I guess what it took was setting up structures in my life so that I'm forced to come here 6 days a week due to the opening hours and all of the different things I have to do. And then now, because of saving money, I live with other people that keep me accountable in eating on time, working out, being clean and healthy. Clean, there's an asterisk to that, but definitely want to improve on that. How did you get the courage to pursue art, and did it come naturally? I think the courage actually came due to a long stint of research. I feel fortunate because for me, I discovered this interest in this choice to pursue art professionally at a very early stage of my life. So you know, when you hear people who excel in sports or dance or piano, it's like, yeah, I've been doing this since I was 3 or since I was 6, and it's like, wow, good for you, you got an early start, right? So in that way, I guess this applies to me for art, because I did get an early start, and it happened kind of as an accident. It was definitely very serendipitous. Like, my mom did not put us into an academy to create like art masters, and it was really just a way to kill time in the beginning. My mom was working very hard as a single mother. She wanted us to have enriching activities, and she needed some alone time on the weekends. So it kind of just came out of, who knows, like out of her circle of friends. Someone was like, I know someone who teaches art and you can drop them off for 5 hours every Saturday, and they teach really good skills. And my sister and I have expressed interest in learning to draw well. Okay, so that was already there to begin with. Ever since I was like 5 or 6, I always felt like I was more adamant of drawing things realistically than my peers. And the teacher was very kind and let us go at half off. Along the way, in hindsight, there's so many people to thank, and that's the most special part of all of this when I reflect on the journey, because there's this teacher, as well as when we got into middle school, we changed to a even more advanced and skilled, I guess you could say, teacher who does not teach younger kids. So I would feel like if I didn't get the head start and start painting at around 8 years old, I wouldn't have had that interest to sharpen the skills when I was in high school, you know, compared to people who start learning for the very first time in college. They were facing a kind of friction that I had already been eating this shit for years and years when I was little and hating it. And there were times where my mom and I would argue because I'm like, I don't want to go. And she's like, you're wasting money. You're just sitting here not doing anything. And I'm just like, it's because I'm struggling. And there were weeks where I'm just like, I can't do this. I can't. And then eventually I got over that really, really rough learning curve and hump. And it's something just unlocked in me when I finally got it down in terms of like the foundational skills of painting. So I'm just like, damn, okay. When you can finally do what you think and you want to do, there's something magical about that. And I definitely earned it. But I feel like it was around that stage where I thought, okay, I'm really good at this, or I want to get better and I could be good. I could be. So I want to pursue this in the future because frankly, it feels like the only thing I'm good at. I'm not the best at school. I don't excel. I'm not in the top classes. I can't picture doing anything that's like science-y. I feel like this is my one and only like salvation, like climbing this rope out of desperation, honestly. So my sister and I were really interested in that, and the key point in pursuing your dreams or going after a really large goal is to do your research and find someone who's already done what you want to accomplish. Because once you find that someone's already done it, the road becomes much more clear and you actually have a lot less resistance mentally. It's just like a lot of research shows that there are a lot of Olympians that break records. Shortly after they break it for the first time ever in human history, tons of people start breaking the same record, right? Because it takes one person to prove that it can be done, and then that type of belief in the self allows other people to achieve it as well, and it's really powerful. So basically that's what my mom did without intentionally doing it. She would try to interview anyone in our circles who had a daughter or the cousin of a daughter or the friend of a person's aunt or tutor who went to an art school, okay, essentially. And it was like the big question of like, can you make money? Can you survive? Like that was definitely the main case, and I could sense that all of us collectively could breathe a little bit when we found out that there were some people who were doing pretty well. Just having a conversation with that student's parents, we learned about their process, how they applied for portfolios, how much it cost to take out loans. In the beginning, I was actually going to go after the entertainment industry side of the creative field. I was really into the idea of trying to work in animation studios or something like that. And over time, I got really materialistic. I really loved fashion, shopping, glamour. So I thought, okay, I'm going to attack like retail industry, whatever. And I feel like I'm still kind of in that space today, but trying to not get stuck in a corporate 9-to-5, basically. And bringing it back to the original question, though, I would say it did feel like the decision to pursue art was a slow build of a lot of research and a lot of mental acknowledgement that this is going to take a lot of work if you want this. And I think it's worth it. I look back and I think it's worth it. So I'm kind of in the same position right now with the shop. Like, because so much ahead is unknown, sometimes I'm just like, but I'm just like, well, I knew it was going to take work, and this is the work, haha, and I know it'll be worth it. So I'm in it for the sheer character development and the process of the pursuit, honestly. Now, my last question is, what artists inspire you, all time and current? Well, I just came up with 3 names because I don't want this video to be too long, but the first 3 names that pop up in my mind. My favorite illustrator is Joey Yu. I really love their editorial work as well as keeping up with their everyday sketch routine. So she's definitely like one of my favorites, my biggest inspiration, because I know very little about this artist. They don't have too much online, just like Instagram and their website, and it's seldom updated. So with the very little that I assume I know about Joey, I am just very inspired to kind of embody that type of like artist life. I don't know how else to describe it, but like when I see the way that Joey dresses and the way that they bring sketchbooks out, like it low-key might have inspired me to bring a sketchbook with me, and then that later inspired me to make this artist tote because I wanted to design a utility bag that allows me to bring materials with me everywhere I go. I remember that Joey had a clear pencil pouch and it had all types of materials in it, like there were crayons and markers, and I love mixed media. So I've been doing that a lot more in my sketch book because I believe I was inspired by Joey 3 years ago now. And the next artist that I really love, who is primarily like a painter, illustrator, is Nathalie Leite. She is, I believe, half French and half Chinese, and she's kind of like an icon for me in what I want my middle-aged life era to look like, because I really want a family one day, but I also want to be a prolific painter. And when I stalk her online, I'm just like, wow, I love that you just paint all over your walls, you just decorate your house whatever the F you want. She's married to a painter. Be surrounded by your art is so enchanting, and her paintings are vivid. I like that she depicts animals with characteristics. They're wearing clothes, and it's just so jolly. And it's not necessarily even any one piece that she makes, but it's the energy that comes about when you see all of her collective works in an ensemble. Like in a room, she designs things that go on your tabletops, the wooden furnitures, clothing, and the fact that there's a little bit of that art breathed into everything that you can touch is like literally something that I'm going after. Like that's why my sister came up with the slogan, "Art lives here," for Piper Blue, because we believe that great design can improve your life and that you can choose to make everything in your life beautiful. So much intentionality behind all of the design objects that live in your space among you. So lastly, okay, wait, actually, before I mention, I just want to throw in Lorian Stern. She's currently building her own barn, mainly going to be their wood shop, ceramic studio, art space, but maybe it's going to be like half residential as well. And that's also like living the dream to me, at least from the outside. I'm like, that's so cool, being able to design everything in your house. They have a really beautiful bathroom. Her partner Dave is a carpenter, so that's really cool. Lastly, the artist that inspires me is Michelle Morin. I know very little about this artist, and I don't even remember how I discovered her, but I follow them on Instagram, and I go on their website sometimes just to brush up on painting, like the love of painting. I will consume other paintings to remind myself of how much I love it innately. That also actually, I want to throw in Ben Steyer. They actually have never had formal training. They're based in Massachusetts, and his work is a lot of surrealist landscapes, and they're just so striking. There's no other word to use to describe the chaotic, beautiful, striking compositions that come out of his work that's like both graphic, yet painterly. Okay. That's it to my Q&A. I could ramble all day long, but I do want to get to the journal aspect of March. Beginning with the first week, it was Iran's birthday, and we went and got brunch together, and it was just so sweet. There's this really funny moment that I filmed where we were like, okay, but we'll get the bill, and he expectedly looked at the kitchen thinking that we hid a cake from him, and then we started singing, and then like we actually just had a cupcake under the table this whole time, and we lit a candle and we put it on the table.
Guys, thank you all so much for coming here. I have to say, with all honesty, you guys being part of having this whole friend group and me being a part of it is one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life since I've moved here.
Me too.
You guys have been a fantastic support system. I'm a goer at Mahjong because of you guys now. So anyway, thank you for all the generosity you've shown me, and here's to many more years of just hanging out, traveling, and doing cool stuff together.
That week, I also attended a beautiful gallery. I was reached out to by Marquee Studio to give them a shout out. It was called Inclusive Impressions, an extension of light, an expression of ability. And this is the first time I've been in any exhibition that showcased artwork by New York City public school students. And these students all had severe mobility challenges. So the way that the paintings were created was using a device that allowed them to control light. They had an artist stand in and follow their strokes, and that would also include their color choices. It was very breathtaking. I loved attending that and just seeing this come to life. I attended a concert recently, my friend Bianca, and their project Brunette Champion. So I got to listen to some unreleased songs and some of my faves from her EP.
I forgot the lyrics. Sorry.
All I know is this is all Every time I get in your car, my hair's a different color, and I found another person to write home about. I wish I had the same love for you. I do. You're the first and last one I haven't touched. I never got the girl, I never was your world, but that's okay now. 'Cause it's even better that you'll always be around.
I'm just happy. I'm happy for her. I'm happy for me. I'm happy for both of us. And I'm glad that we got to keep in touch and support each other and see the growth. When my channel first started, I reached out to her for a lot of my background music. And regrettably, I deleted so many of my early videos. I don't know why I didn't just private them, but for some reason I just was out of my mind and I deleted all of them. So it's gone forever. All of the music in the past would be sung by Bianca because I didn't want to get copyrighted, but I really wanted to use a song by Aaron and Wine or Miley Cyrus. So she would just record covers for me, and it would just take her 1 to 2 days to get back to me, and she was like, done. And it would be perfection, and it was so special. So I have loved her voice from a very long time ago, and to now see that she is even more skilled in what she's doing and investing in herself, because producing songs is extremely expensive. I can't wait to see what she releases in the future, because I know that she's working on a new album now. Another quick shout out for my friends and my roommates Jay and Tam. They threw together a fun potluck in March called Rolling into Spring. One of Tam's goals for Q1 was to host a Viet-themed food potluck. So she shared her knowledge of how to roll spring rolls, and the potluck was essentially everybody bringing one type of veggie or protein, and then we'd all get together and make spring rolls, have lunch, and then play games into the night. Wow, this video is getting really long, but next I'm going to wrap up with talking about lucky things such as Lucky Charm. That was our event that we held here, and originally it was going to be the weekend of St. Patty's, but my sister got the flu and her family, so I'm glad that they were all back to health, and we postponed it to the last weekend of March because I really wanted her to make it. Last winter she launched her new brand. Her website will be up shortly, but you can find it on Etsy in the link below. I wanted to show you some of Lucky Charm, but I might actually include it in the next vlog as well, because there's so much good footage. I don't want to minimize it for the sake of fitting it into the March notes video. But like, I also had a whole green Lucky display in the front. It was fun to work on a seasonal display in terms of like merchandising. Merchandising is a whole beast in itself. Oh my gosh. There's like a reason that it's a whole job, it's a whole career, and it just seems so simple, right? To like put things out and make it look cute, but it actually takes like half a day for me to do one simple display. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do for April. Actually, I do. It's gonna be cherry blossom themed, welcoming spring. We have cherry motifs a lot in Piper Blue, so we're gonna have that. And that leads me to a shout out. This video is sponsored by me, by Piper Blue, and we are launching something new at the end of this week on Friday. You might already see this well-loved signature item that we have in our shop called the Artist Tote in Blossom. So it's in a pink tint. I will say we use natural dyes, and over time it does fade, the pink. So that's kind of a bummer, but it's also just like, okay, c'est la vie, you know, that's all we know. We're not gonna do it again, not gonna use this dye anymore. But for now, this is what it looks like. It's in our PB colors, so we have pink, green, and red. And essentially, what is launching this Friday is the Cherry Blossom Bundle. So we already have a lot of staple items, but we like to offer it as a value set. I designed a bottle to perfectly go along with this set, and everything is all like pink and red themed. So if you didn't know the details about the artist tote, what it is the ultimate everyday carry. It has very durable canvas and an inner lining. It total has 7 pockets and a removable zip mesh pouch. Snaps in the sides. It acts as a divider, top, bottom, and there's a sketchbook in here. So on the left and right side, there are thick elastic straps in the matching green. This one can hold a dry umbrella or a thinner thermos or water bottle. And then this one, we had to design one that will fit the 32-ounce Nalgene. For example, it slips right in. Because sometimes it's just really annoying for your water bottle to be swishing and swashing horizontally inside the bottom of your bag. There's an open pocket on this side for your quick catch-all needs. Maybe like a rubber band, lip balm. And then of course this one, this flap, this size is designed to hold the largest iPhone or Samsung. And if you live in a city and you want to avoid pickpocketers, protect your tech, got a zipper there. The back, you can throw in any loose papers, projects you're working on. The outside of it has 2 little pockets. I also keep my keys. This one has essentially helped me not lose and forget my keys so much that I depend on this. This is the favorite part of the bag for me, because when you have it on your shoulders, you don't need to take it off or anything. You reach in and you can unlock your door or buzz the "welcome, please come in," and then tuck it back in. I have put in the 4x6 clear window here a print that I painted and printed out. You have to cut it. It wasn't like 4x6 exactly, my print, so I had to trim it myself to fit it in. But this is really beautiful for a photograph that you get developed, or a series of little collages, or you can even put little trinkets in here. This is meant for you to be able to express yourself, and if you go to a museum and you find a postcard or you get one in the mail, you keep the people you love in their letters close to your heart. Oh, I forgot, I tucked this as well. This little cherry. There's so many cherry themed things that we made, so I wanted to make sure that you can get it all in a bundle, and it would be a great gift as well. Talking about this just now about Joey Yu, about how I love mixed media and I love having a clear pouch where you can dump all of your materials in, and you can go to the cafe or out in nature. You can see what materials you're working with. There's no digging from the top of your bag, but it's also really great for toiletries, by the way. Yay! Yep, so that is everything that's part of this bundle. We got the artist tote here, the mixed media sketchbook, the print, the sticker, and lastly, the cherry blossom Nalgene. I love that. It looks so cohesive together. I'm gonna close off on another event that we tried out this March, and it was a linoleum block printing workshop, and I hosted it with my good friend Joyce. Everybody's feedback to us was really helpful, and it seemed to go so well. And so we are bringing it back in the beginning of May. If you are going to visit New York, or you know people who live in the area and want to explore, it's going to be a 2 to 3 hour long workshop. Basically, it depends, like we allot that time for you, but if you already finish your project and you want to go, you're free to go. But you're also welcome to stay and chill with us. We were printing on bandana scarves last time, and some folks brought in tote bags and old t-shirts that they gave new life to. So the idea is this time it's going to be the Saturday right before Mother's Day. So if you happen to be going out of town and visiting your mom that Sunday, then you can make something cute with a linoleum block. You get to make your stamp and take it home so you can use it again and again. And during the workshop, everybody got to trade and build little collages of like almost the class set. So that is a really special part of being able to host in-person events, just seeing different folks come together. And very special thanks to Joyce for being a wonderful teacher. I hope that you get to join us, and the tickets are already live, so check the description because there's a lot I mentioned in this video. So that is it to March Notes. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to sign off now because Bambi and I have just about 10 minutes before we gotta head out to the vet. Bambi, you wanna come sign off? He's chilling right now on the couch. You're sitting on the couch as well. Come here, bub. You're not too mad at me, right, babe? Before I forget, I must film a thumbnail. 好。